Alrighty, everybody, get my camera here and stop shaking. Here's another knife review and knife comparison on a new knife that just came out from Blade HQ. If you're watching this now, then you've already lost on the first run, so you're going to have to wait until they do a second run of these knives, but it's the Vox Dapper Knife done by Blade HQ and Vox. So there's the box that came in. Here's the knife. Ta-da! Gorgeous little knife. I did order it in the green micarta, but the green micarta that it is out of the box is not what it is now. I dyed these scales, that emerald green rip dye color. So love how it turned out. Came out very, very pretty, very, very rich emerald green color. I love it. Not that there's anything wrong with the more earthy toned grassy green color that the scales were out of the box. I just wanted to personalize it and get a little bit different kind of a green. And I'm happy with this. I'm very, very happy with that color. If you like to color your knife scales, it's a little more fun than coloring Easter eggs, in my opinion. But thought I'd share that since we just had Easter. And yeah, so let's get into it. Came with a nice little synthetic leather and fur type case. Great. Like that they gave the extra effort and threw that in there so that you have a nice carry case for it. What I want to compare it to, let me do a little bit of size reference. Here's your Benchmade popper. Everybody knows, just about everybody knows what the size is of a popper. Really, really close in size. Totally different type of knife, but still pretty darn close in size, so that should give you an idea. And if it doesn't, then maybe the oh so raved Civivi Elementum gives you an idea that he is smaller than the Elementum by a good little bit. A little bit, but a good little bit. Mainly in the blade. See how I'll match the blade up there, and you see how much less of a blade there is on the Dapper. Not a whole lot, but definitely a difference. Alright, so this is what intrigued me and got me excited about the Dapper. Not only is it a Blade HQ exclusive, I do like the exclusives. I do like the limited runs, limited editions. That's always, something that gravitates most of us in the knife world to, are those types of knives. If we can afford them. For those of us who can afford them, sometimes, not always. Depends on the knife, depends on the buyer. But what I really loved about this guy was, for his size, all the materials involved. M390, yes, sweet. Love M390. This is actually my first knife with M390, but I've used other people's knives with that blade steel. It's an amazing steel. Watch Blade HQ videos. Zach is going to tell you 100 times over, 1,000 times over, how much he loves M390. So that's that. But I love how with the flipper tab, and I like flipper tabs. I like that he's small. I like that he's discreet. I hate it when the knives have, and the Civivi Elementum is the same way. That's a fairly discreet flipper tab. He does not protrude out very far. He's not all curvy. He's not super thick and have all this rough jimping on him or anything like that. He's, just subtle. Well done, well shaped, well executed. Enough there to make the action happen without being overkill. So there we go. Finally focused on the little bit of jimping that's on that Civivi Elementum. Here's the jimping on the Dapper. So what's cool is they did the jimping here. That's the jimping that you need. That's where you're putting your finger, to fire that blade open. Now, the jimping that's here, when the blade opens, he follows through, and he's your jimping there in collation and smooth movement with the liner lock release spot has that jimping there, and it carries up into that. So the best way to grip this sucker is like that for getting closer to the blade, and down like that if you need, you know, that chunk of space between you and the item that you're making the cuts. If you need that space just by the nature of the angles and what you're cutting and where you're cutting, you know, that has that versatility to it, that you have both different types of grips. So always, of course, the pinch grip, throw that finger way out there, do little bends, little finger test if you know what I'm talking about from Blade HQ. So that's all beautiful things about this knife, which is noticeable in how far back that pivot screw is, how far back that blade is inside this end of the scale versus the Civivi Elementum. He's not quite back, so far back. He's a little bit closer. You see the difference there? Yep. And what I wanted to show you is a comparison on something that I already own, that I've owned for a while now, several years now, and has seen a good bit of pocket time, definitely a good bit of pocket time, is the Buck Vantage Pro Small, which is also a liner lock. Has a very relatively small blade. The blade is 2.6 on the Buck versus the almost 2.4, 2.375 if you want to go all the way out for Blade HQ specifications on it. So yeah, relatively very close size and blade, although there is some people say it's a big difference, that you're looking at a clip point with a flat grind versus a drop point with a hollow grind. Yes, many people who are deemed themselves as being experts or extreme novices and enthusiasts, you can throw all kinds of descriptive words out there, may tell you that the performance is going to be totally different because of the type of the blade shape and the type of the grind is on the knives. They're both very slicey. They're both really, really well done, and they're super sharp. M390 versus S30V, but with that Boss heat treatment. If you know what I mean, you'll get that, you'll understand that. It's Boss heat treatment on an S30V. That's amazing. It's going to have amazing performance. M390 already has, always has, as long as they did a good heat treatment, which Italy is known for doing really good with M390. He's going to have amazing performance as well in that sharp blade. So a lot of comparisons with these guys. Take a look. I did the whole comparison with all the measurements in relation to the price on Blade HQ's website. So I just thought I'd point out that these guys are noticeably very similar knives as far as the shape, the profile, measurements, ergonomics, all that stuff. There's a lot of similarities. So my point being is that if you missed out on this guy, he's not too far off in similarities. That if you were looking for a knife like this might be a really solid second option. And so if it's going to bug the crap out of you that the second run of these might not happen for maybe a year or, God forbid, longer, for those who missed out, maybe this guy will satisfy your appetite enough. And he's just an amazing knife. He's a fantastic knife. I've had him for several years now. He's gotten plenty of pocket time. I love it. The S30V with that Boss heat treatment has held up very, very well. With most of my knives, with your closer to premium steels, your higher end steels, with higher edge retentions, I barely have to touch them up with a leather strop, or once or twice I've had a knife with higher grade steel that I've actually had to take a stone to bring him back to dangerous levels of sharpness. So with that said, price difference, 150 versus 70. That's quite a bit of difference for not a whole terrible lot of differences. And both are amazing knives. So I'm glad that I'm able to enjoy both of them in all of their own little quirks, little differences in their features and materials. They're still excellent knives. One thing to point out, this is a G10 handle versus your micarta. But that G10 is so darn textury. Let me see if I can get them to... My lighting is not... I've got a lighting issue here. Kind of got a shadow. There we go. That shows you. Look how textury that G10 is. That is impressive. I really like the way this guy feels. He feels less like G10 and a little bit more like micarta. And he's just a fantastic grip, a fantastic hold, even when he's been wet. And using him after I've washed my hands and my hands are still wet, or rinsed off in the creek bed or whatever. He provides a great grip. And of course, micarta is micarta, and they did really well with the fit and finish of this micarta. It's a fantastic handle and grip as well. I like this. I think I'm gonna enjoy this hold of having that finger there and my pointer finger right here. I'm not quite so nervous. I will have to be a little more mindful of it, of making sure that this finger doesn't come out onto that sharp blade, because boy will I do a doozy on my finger if it does. So I think that I'm going to really like this grip, this hold on it, and being close to the blade like that, and really being able to put pressure on it and utilize every bit of this blade for maybe some slightly harder tasks. But so far all I've cut is paper of different thicknesses. He is sharp. There is no doubt he is sharp. Definitely sharp. If I can hold the paper right. But S30V. I haven't touched him, and I've been carrying him for a little while. Oh, yeah, he definitely needs touched up, but still, I think if I take him to the strop for a minute, just a couple of swipes on each side, that he would be brought right back to life. Maybe. We'll see. Usually that's all he needs. But I've recently been carrying him for a little bit and using him on carving some wood sticks and stuff. So he definitely needs a little touch up on the blade, and probably cleaned around the pivot, a little bit of oil, so he fires out there more nicely than needing that extra momentum. But nevertheless, fantastic knives. Gotta love these knives. And that is your close-up look at the Dapper and the micarta scale version, nonetheless. So, hope you enjoyed. Hope that gave you guys a little bit to think about as far as whether or not this guy is a contender. I'm sorry he's not sharp. If he was sharpened up, if he was touched up, I promise you he'd cut this paper just as well as this guy. But as you saw out of the box, after cutting and doing maybe about 30 or 40 cuts through some envelopes and paper, he's still sharp as can be. Size comparison, not sure if did I bring these in there? I thought I brought these in here. I don't know. This is my third take of this video. This is ridiculous that I've had to do 3 takes of this video. But here you go. If I didn't already, size comparison. I'm pretty sure I did. That's the kind of a day I'm having. Laugh at me, make fun of me if you want. But yeah, there's your size comparison with multiple different knives, all very similar in size. Shape is also kind of sort of similar, with these two being my main interest of talk today, comparing those two and their differences. But yeah, if they do another run of them, don't sit on it. Get that Dapper knife. He's a sweet one. Alright, hit the like button, subscribe, take a look at some other videos, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.